All right, welcome back to MEP Basics. Now, this is going to be the part two of the drainage system design that we started earlier. We went through the process of, first of all, placing our sanitary fixtures. Okay, so we did the kitchen sink, we did the basin, the toilet seat, the floor drain, and then we also did the bathtub. Okay, and we've set all the elevations right for this. The second thing we did was to go through, how to calculate for the main drainage line that is going to take all this waste out of this building. So the next thing we're going to do is to just lay some pipes to connect all our fixtures, outside the building. Now to do that, I'm going to close this external reference palette and I'm going to open the tools palette. All right. Now, when I open the tool palette, remember that before you start any trade, make sure that your display configuration is set to the right, display configuration. In this case, I want to put it to MEP design, and then I'm going to make sure that the workspace switching is also set to plumbing, so that I'm going to have the right tool set over here to work with. That is very important. With that said, now I'm going to come to plumbing. When you open the tool palette, there's plumbing line, there's fittings, there's equipment, there's annotation, and then there's tax and schedule. We're going to go through all of this, so let's just take our time. So before we do that, let's go to the plumbing line. Okay. Once we go to the plumbing line, the first thing I want to do is to draw all the waste lines. And remember that the biggest diameter of pipe we're dealing with here is 80 millimeters. So I'm going to pick a waste line. So if I come to somewhere over here, okay, I'm going to see waste pipe. Okay, I'll double click on this and I'll come to the properties palette. When I come here, I'm going to make sure that the size is set to 80. All right. And the elevation is 0. I'm going to explain that. So let me just draw a reference 80 mm from here. I'm going to draw this from this place all the way to this place. I'll go like this. I'll come this way. And I'll do this, and then I'll come this way. Let me ignore this and leave this right here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is to connect this waste outline to this, and then pick the center from here and exit it out of the building. Okay. To do that, I'm just going to pick the plumbing line again, or you can just right click on this and then go to add selection. And then I'll pick this spot, connect this to this. There we are, good to go. Remember that this is too big, so I'm going to change. Okay, you let me leave the annotation scale as it is, but I'm going to delete this annotation and I'm going to drag this from here to the center of this. Okay, and that will be that. Or I'll just remove this. Okay, and I'm going to draw a different waistline from the middle. Okay, I'll ignore this, and then let me drop this, because the idea is that this is at a higher level. So again, let me just do this again. I'll pick the waist line, pick the middle of this. Or what I can do is, for some of them, once you route it, the fittings are added. So what I'm going to do right here is I'll pick this. Okay. Or I'll come to fittings. All right. I'll pick a T. This is not a T I'm looking for. So without deselecting, I'll come to properties and I'll select this. Then I'd rather go for this T. Okay. I'll put this right here. And that's that. Okay. I'll pick this spot over here. Now, I'll ignore that. I'll come this way. And I'll change the elevation. Okay. That's very important. You type EL to change the elevation to 0. All right. And I'm going to connect this right to this. And that's that. Okay. Let me delete this. So that is it. Now, remember I told you that we're also going to connect the dishwasher to the drain line. So I'm going to pick or go to waste line. I'll put the outlet somewhere right here. So I'll click here and then I'll change the elevation. Okay. I'll drop this down to 0. All right. And I'll pick this spot right here. What I am going to do is that you see the slope. I'm going to change the direction to this place because I don't want the water to flow this way. So I'll go this way. What can we do to this? I'm going to put an end cap on this. So let's go to fittings. I'll pick an end cap and I'll put it right here. Okay. At the ladder area, I'm going to put a washing machine over here. So let's just assume that the washing machine is going to be somewhere over here. I'll pick the plumbing line from here, the waistline. I'll drop this elevation to, let's say, I'll drop it to 0. All right. Yeah. And that's it. I'll delete this. I'll delete this because it makes sense. I'm going to change this direction because I want to flow this. All right. So that is it for me. And over here too, let's put an end cap, come to fittings. Put an end cap on this. Okay. And that's that. Okay, so one thing that we didn't pay attention to is the pipe sizes, and that's very bad. So let's just go back and correct all of this. Now, if you select this sink over here and you come to equipment properties, you realize that the waistline is 40, not 80. Okay, so we're going to select these lines. Okay, these lines. All right, and we'll change it to, come to the properties and then change it to 40. Okay, so once we picked it from the spot, the size is corrected. All right, but I'm going to change this because this is not connected to any fitting or any, so I'll do this. Okay, let's leave it at 40 and then let's leave this one also at 40. Let's check the size. This is 80, so I'm going to change this to 40. Okay, and that makes a lot of sense. Now let's come to the basin. Okay, there's a basin. So if we select this and we come to equipment properties, we're going to realize that the waistline over here, which is D3, is 32 mm. So I'll escape a couple of times and then pick the plumbing line again. Where is it? Come to plumbing line and I'll come to waist. Okay. Oh, yeah, waist. I'll just use the waist line. I'll pick this spot right here. Okay. Yeah. And then remember that we raised this, okay, to some elevation. So I'm going to come to this place and type elevation. I'm going to drop this to 0. Okay. Then I'll pick the spot right here. All right. Then I'll go. I'll pick a spot right here. Yes. Then I'll join this to the main, if you like. So I'll pick a spot right here and then join it to the pipe. This is making this whole thing crowded, so I'm going to delete this. And then one thing I'm going to do is to change the direction to this place because this is how I want the wastewater to exit. Okay. and you can see the rise and drop symbol over here. Okay, that's very important too. Next thing we're going to connect is the floor drain to the line. I'm going to pick. Now, we can also decide to bring this floor drain between this and connect this to a 32 and an outlet into an 80. Or I'm just going to draw another plumbing line, a waste line, and then change the size to 80. Okay, and then connect this to this. I'm going to adjust the slope. Okay, and again, I don't want this. It makes it very crowded. So select this. I'll change the line again, change the direction. The next thing we need to connect is the water closet. So I'll pick a plumbing line. And this time around, I'll go to domestic. I'll come to sanitary black water. Okay. I'm going to use the black water. Then I'll come to this. This is actually the waste outlet. So I'm going to pick this. Okay. Now we are not going to join this to the main. So this we want to run straight outside. Okay. And I'll explain why. So that is that. I'm going to delete this. I want to delete this as well. And the last thing we're going to do is to connect the waste line of the bathtub, which is 40. Okay, so that is the waste line for the bathtub. So now when you have a look at the entire work, you can tell that we have been able to layer out. Now at this point, you can see we have been able to lay out all the sanitary fixture waste lines outside of the building. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is to look at how we can add some chambers. So we can just put a note of it here to send this to the nearest manhole